Okay, folks, I've skewered the Democrats, now it's time for Republicans. Republicans are like a bunch of fucking magicians. They get you to look left so that you don't see what's going on the right. Republicans, they like to get people all riled up about activist liberal judges when it's conservative judges who took the words well-regulated militia right out of the Second Amendment and want the First Amendment, the freedom of religion clause, to only apply to Christians and interpret it in a way that allows Christians to shove their religious beliefs down all of our throats. They get poor people to thump their Bibles and believe that they are the party of moral high ground when they are running a man for president who has been married 5 times, has a rape trial coming up, and has had members of Congress that have had numerous infidelities, just as much as Democrats. In fact, good old Newt Gingrich served his first wife with divorce papers during the Clinton impeachment trial while she was in the hospital being treated for breast cancer. Now, he didn't lie about it under oath, but that's still a really dick move. And it shows you just what a slimy, evil son of a bitch he really is. They talk about drug testing welfare recipients, and then they get caught with cocaine. They talk about saving the middle class when they were the ones who destroyed it and caused the Great Recession under President Bush. People down in Louisiana still think that the Hurricane Katrina response was President Obama's fault. They talk about creating jobs in the United States when really what they're doing is giving tax cuts to super wealthy corporations and their CEOs who are creating jobs in China. They talk about being good for business when it's their policies that lead to people going out of business. Remember the bailouts and the too big to fail companies that failed at the end of the Bush administration. And also, it was during that Great Recession when we had millions upon millions upon millions of job losses. Look at Wisconsin. Companies are leaving like crazy. Oscar Mayer closed the plant in Madison. The Manitowoc Company has outsourced crane manufacturing to Pennsylvania, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Wisconsin is actually dead last in job creation in the United States. Republicans talk about black people wanting to start a race war when people like David Duke are endorsing Donald Trump and running for Senate as Republicans. Donald Trump actually has a number of white nationalists working on his campaign. And oh yeah, if you look at Wisconsin, we lead the nation in the percentage of black people that are in prison. So who's really starting the race war, huh, guys? They like to talk about how liberals are destroying the economy. Well, we all know how that went. I think anybody with half a brain remembers whose fault the recession really was. They talk about wanting to save Social Security. They're the ones who stole all the money from Social Security to begin with and haven't paid it back. Because, well, that would mean actually spending hard-earned money and, investing in this country instead of in corporate welfare. Speaking of welfare, they talk about poor people as being freeloaders while they're giving out money to all their corporate benefactors that they didn't even earn, that is not being reinvested in their companies, despite what trickle-down economic theorists might have you believe. No, they're actually keeping that money, and they are raising prices and giving themselves insane bonuses, while the rest of us are left with nothing. See, that's how trickle-down economics works. The rich keep all the money, and that's it. We don't get one extra red cent. So we end up paying higher prices, we end up with fewer jobs, and they just keep getting richer and raking in record profits. Look at gas prices. They destroyed the environment, and then they say that science is just a giant liberal conspiracy. See, they're very good at deflecting blame when things go wrong. You know, they blame partisan liberal politics for high gas prices because they don't want to develop resources. No, what we don't want is for fracking companies like Halliburton to destroy our environment and our water supply with fracking. You know, and then of course when things go right, and, you know, things like the weekend get invented, it's all because of some genius capitalist. And that's how they destroyed the labor unions. They blame the labor unions when companies fail, and if things go right, it's all because of some genius capitalist. And that's how they destroyed the labor unions. The fact is that we need labor unions, because without labor unions, we wouldn't have workplace safety regulations. We wouldn't have the 40-hour work week. We wouldn't have the weekend. And by the way, they're actually trying to roll those reforms back behind our backs, especially here in Wisconsin, where they control the governor's office, the state Supreme Court, and the legislature. They talk about voter fraud and use that to justify the Voter ID Act. Well, they know a lot about voter fraud because they're the ones who actually are guilty as hell of that stuff, not the ordinary voters. Joel Kleefisch has been spotted casting a vote for another legislator who was absent during a hearing. I believe there was a segment about this on the old Countdown show with Keith Olbermann. You can probably find it online somewhere. You know, and they accuse liberals of playing dirty politics. Well, they ought to know something about that, because they're the masters of it. That's why they haven't done their job for the last 8 years, and they have the perfect scapegoat for everything from shutting down the government to anything else that they find convenient. Because now there's a black guy in the White House. So, you know, they can get people riled up about anything and then say it's all his fault because he's a socialist, he's a Muslim, and he's a, yeah, and they'll use the N-word too. Alright, that's all I have for now. Feel free to leave a comment. Oh, I almost forgot. I have a suggestion for Republicans. I think they should pack up, fuck off, and all move to Somalia, where they don't have a central government. That way, they can do whatever the hell they want, and we the people can finally take back our fucking country while they're off doing their thing somewhere else. Alright, this time I'm out for real. No more politics, unless you want to leave a comment. Peace out.